Because it was cute.
Okay.
Off-camera stuff that is carried to on-camera.
Right.
What are we here for?
Movie reviews.
What are we going to talk about?
Baghban.
Yes, Baghban.
Big B.
Your favorite.
I love Big B.
Yes.
I do.
So tell us about this movie.
Okay, so it was from 2003, so please don't skewer us in the comments when you say, like, why are you watching a movie that's that old? Or that's not even a very good Big B movie.
It's from Lucknow.
Because I do understand that this is not a new movie, but
new
for
to us.
me, it's new to me because I've only been watching Indian films for approximately a year now.
2 weeks.
No, not 2 weeks. Approximately a year. So for me, this is, I love the head shake. That was very Indian of you. Very nice.
I'm working on it.
So anyhow, as our friends know, I love Big B. So I am always in search of Big B.
Do you want to
films.
marry him?
No, because I'm already married to you. You're my Big B.
It's so...
Yeah, and our last name begins with B,
Yes.
so that's great. So anyhow, I do love Big B films, and many of our friends have suggested a spate of Big B films. So this was on the list. So
Yes.
please, for those of you who didn't like this film, don't be upset that we watched it. For those of you who want us only to review new films, please don't be upset because this one is 14
You
years
smell
old.
like vanilla.
That's because that's your favorite lotion smell. Yeah, and you smell like Polo. So anyhow, the premise of the film, would you care to enlighten us?
First of all, it had Salman Khan in it, and I was morally
Yeah.
opposed to seeing this.
But you always
this
know...
this was Salman Khan before the hair pluck.
And you always know when they say a
didn't-
very special appearance,
Yeah, you know that he's
they're
going to be
not going to be in it
So
very
we had
long.
Salman Khan, we had
Right.
we had Big B, and he was with his wife from Sholay.
Hema Malini.
Yes.
Yes. She was the rickshaw girl.
And
in
in Sholay, she talked all the time. In
Yes.
this movie, all she did was cry. She never talked.
Yes. Okay, can I point out too? So Sholay was like 1975.
The nation wants to know.
And
That's my Arnab.
I know. So
Why
Sholay
aren't
was
you
like
talking in this film?
1975-ish, and Baghban was 2003. So almost 30 years had elapsed between those two films. I was so amazed at how good she looked after all those years. Wow.
The only thing that was missing was a guy with no arms. We needed him in this film.
Thakur, I think, was his name in the film. I don't remember his name in real life, though. So anyhow, yes, Big B and Hema Malini are a married couple, and they have just celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary.
Yes.
And we find out in the film that means he's 60 and she's 55,
Yes.
which were their respective ages in real life at the time. And so they've basically raised 4 boys.
And-
5 if you count Salman Khan, who was an orphan.
Yes, and so what we see in this film is that these parents have not saved anything for retirement.
No, they've done everything for their kids.
Yes, whatever the kids
Everything
want, they
have,
give.
Yeah, they give it to the kids, and they think the kids are so appreciative and they love them. And so when Big B retires from the bank, they have a surprise waiting for the kids, and the kids think it's going to be like
He
more
said
money.
they
and-
must have gotten a huge payout.
Right. And so, yeah, let's go visit him for the holidays, and we're going to get something.
How disappointing to Big B to find out his kids are Pakistanis. They had to really,
Yeah.
because all they kept saying was, "Give me cashmere, give me cashmere."
Well, no,
give me
they
cashmere.
were saying give me cash, not
Mere.
cashmere. It was
Cashmere.
cash. So they were total ingrates.
Yes.
The 3 of them that were married, their wives were total ingrates. I mean, so disrespectful. And initially, the one granddaughter was also very haughty and disrespectful, but Grandma saved her. And so she becomes very grateful to Grandma and realizes that her parents are cads. And then the young grandson, he recognized from the very beginning. And remember, as Big B's getting ready to leave his house, he's like, Grandpa, don't come back here. And it was because he recognized that his parents were jerks and he didn't want his grandpa to be hurt anymore. Okay,
Was that the same kid from Bootnot?
it was not. I looked it
I
up.
swear there's only one kid that acts in all the little Indian boy movies.
Yeah, well, it wasn't him.
And it's the dude from Bootnot, that
No.
little dude.
It wasn't. So anyhow, Big B makes friends with a guy who has a cafe,
Yes.
Him and
yes.
his wife.
He was cool. Big brother.
And
They kept calling him Big Brother.
yes, they loved him.
Yes.
All of the young people at the cafe loved Big B. And so they read his story that he's left behind, and it's called Baghban because that means gardener.
Yes.
And so he's left this story behind.
Well, and let's just be, in his retirement, they've separated this. So they've come to the kids and said, we're retired. We don't
Right.
really have any means to support ourselves.
Right. Who can we live with?
Who could we live with? And
Right.
the kids, everybody just is like,
The parents
not
think,
with me.
The parents think
Not
they're
with
going
me.
to fight over who wants us.
And so they decide to separate them.
How
and then everybody
awful.
kind of rotates.
How
Everybody-
awful is that?
yes,
And they were
yes.
going to do it forever. Like,
Yes,
you
yeah.
live with this sibling for 6 months, mom lives with this sibling for 6 months, and then we rotate. And so, meanwhile, mom and dad never get to live
Right,
together
so they're
again?
missing each other. They're writing love letters. So
Yes.
he decides to write this collection of stories about
Because
his
everybody
love.
at the cafe has
Love to hear the
asked him.
stories.
Right.
Yes. They said you should write them. So he does it, kind
Yes.
of pass the time,
Right.
hanging out at the cafe, drinking ginger tea, and they've now kind of the 6 months are up and they're getting
Right.
ready to ship the parents, but the parents realize they're going to be meeting at a station,
Right.
so let's
They have a plan.
but he
Right.
forgets the papers.
Right.
He forgets his stories.
Right. And so meanwhile, everybody at the cafe is reading this, and they're just so
Crying,
sad.
yeah.
They're crying. They can't even finish.
Can't finish.
That's the difference, I think, between American culture and Indian culture, because I totally would have finished it. I would have been like, okay, this is so sad, but I have to finish. I need to know what happens. And in the Indian culture, they're like, we're too polite to finish this because this is personal and private, and so they don't even finish it. And so yeah, they're like, we're on a mission now. We gotta find them and help them. Meanwhile, so Big B and his wife, they're kind of strolling around, and they have a little time together, and they come across a Ford dealership, and they're looking at a car, and they've never owned a car.
A Ford. This is what you're going for, dude. We hit Ford stands for something in America.
Yeah.
Found on the road dead.
Yeah, in America, Fords are not like reliable cars. They have a reputation for having all kinds of
And
problems.
I felt bad for him because, like, the first car
Yeah.
he's gonna fall in love with
Is
a
a
Ford.
Ford.
Like,
I know.
oh,
I was
man.
very sad to see that. But anyhow, so it's an American car, and unfortunately, a lot of American cars are just not the best quality. They've improved some over the years.
Because they're Japanese.
Well, no,
They gotta compete with the
strictly-
Japanese.
Well, yes, they have to compete with the Japanese.
No,
so that's
what are you talking about?
Because you said
I'm the professor.
No, because you said they're Japanese. They're not Japanese. They're American cars.
They're
who are
Chinese
competing
Japanese.
with the Japanese cars. Anyhow, they end up at this Ford dealership, and they're kind of admiring a car and thinking how fun it would be to take a test drive. So they do. They take a test drive, and just like in America, the guy who's at the dealership gets in the back seat and goes for a test drive, and they get back, and he's trying to sell them the car, just like it happens in America.
And he said, I don't want to buy
He's like,
that
"I don't
car.
wanna buy
I
it."
just wanted to take it for a test drive.
And the guy's trying to pressure him, and then Big B finally says, I can't afford the car. And now the salesperson is all offended. And he's actually going to abuse Big B. And I
Verbally.
knew what was
Verbally.
coming. I knew what was coming.
He was going to hit him.
He raised his hand.
Did
Yes,
he?
he did. Yes, he did. Because then the owner of the dealership comes out, and I knew it was going to be Salman Khan because he had gone overseas after Big B and his wife, took him in and raised him. He went overseas for his schooling, and he becomes a very successful businessman. And he comes back to India.
This is where the film turns, I think, is because we see Salman Khan take the car, and then he drives over and kills all the siblings.
Okay, that didn't actually
He
happen.
did it because he was drunk, and then
Right.
Big B came out and apologized and said,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was necessarily him. It may have been me. I
No,
don't
that didn't
know."
actually happen in the film. So anyhow, Salman Khan comes out, and I knew he was going to be the owner. And
I've challenged him to a
he
fist fight.
slapped the salesperson and said, "How dare you raise your hand to my father?" And so now the story turns, and the other siblings are all like, "Where did they go? We don't know where they went," and they're all in their pseudo panic. And so what ends up happening all of you probably know because you've seen the film, but for us, it was really cool to see. His book, his little writings, the people who own the cafe, there's a kid there who has a family member who's a publisher.
And loved
they
it.
give it to the publisher,
Loved it.
and the book's a huge hit, and
Huge
Big
hit.
B becomes a millionaire. So they're
And so
rich.
they have this big
They're
party.
rich.
They ignore the kids.
Yes.
Like the kids are there because they're like, oh, he's
Yeah.
worth a mint now. Let's go.
Right,
We're
but
sorry, Papa.
And
We're
and
sorry,
Salman
G.
Khan is
Papa
there.
G?
And he's,
Papa G, we're sorry.
And he's all like humble, and he's so, just so happy to be there with his parents, and seeing this happen for them. They get to move back to their old home. They get their dogs back, and then Big B.
The kids try to talk to him. He just ignores
Yes.
them.
And then Big B kind of gives a parable about what would he say
Yes.
if his own kids
And he tells
really
his
treated
kid,
him
and
this
he
way.
tells his kids to go to hell. Basically,
He
Go to
basically
hell.
says, bug off,
Yes.
get out of here. And then they're like, surely Mom can't do this, because it was Mom who agreed in the first place to say, yes, let's split up and we'll live with our kids, for 6 months at a time, and we'll be separated. And so they figure, okay, Mom's going to be the pushover here. We'll be able to get to Dad through Mom. And Mom says, basically,
Hindustan!
if it was just me as a mother, I could forgive you, but I'm his wife. And then she follows him, and
Man,
that's that.
cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
So those kids got what was coming to them, and then the grandkids were there, and they were all excited because they actually love Grandma and Grandpa, not Grandma and Grandpa's money. So, wow, I loved it.
Yeah, it was a good film. Grade?
A.
Yeah. A easy.
Yeah, loved it. So I hope you enjoyed our movie review. I apologize that it's so old. Please bear with me because I love Big B.
We have 2 more to do.
We do have 2 more movie
who are
reviews
they?
to do. We're going to do Virapon
Yes,
and Lucknow Central.
Okay, now go ahead.
So
Beg for subscribers.
I will not beg for subscribers. You will beg for subscribers.
Please subscribe.
Yes.
I have some things for you on the website. I've been working very, very diligently. If you go there now, there is Mother Jane. Yes, I have Mother Jane there. The Medal of India rocks on darkskyradio.com. Led Zeppelin's greatest hits. And then the soundtrack to Lucknow Central, which is a true story based on my life.
No, it's not a true story.
Based on my life.
It's inspired by true events. There's a difference.